towards the third base side of the rubber, but for whatever reason he has been better as a starter, and the Cardinals have won 18 of the 25 games that he's pitched in as a starter.
That's something you can't ignore, and Tony La Russa will point that out frequently, talking about the win percentage. Not always does he get the victory, but he keeps you in the game to where the club gets the victory, and that's most important. And he's had good numbers against the Rockies.
Start Domino's first pitch, and it's taken for a ball by Dexter Fowler, the young center fielder for the Colorado Rockies, and we're underway. Here's a ground ball. That's good to see. Ground balls for Brad Thompson. Handled easily there by Skip Schumacher for the first out. Let's take a look at the Rockies lineup, and it has been explosive here in this series at St. Louis. Fowler, Barmes, and Helton. Then Brad Hopp, Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, a down year for him. Carlos Gonzalez. And you see Paul Phillips and Jason Marquis. We know he can swing the bat. Here is Clint Barmes. Jim Tracy, the new manager, after Clint Hurdle was fired by Colorado. And that's a strike at the knees to Barmes. He's hitting .285 with 6 home runs, 26 RBIs. Sometimes even the pros, the simplest things of drawing a line in the dirt to remind you from the rubber to home plate of where you want to be.
You'll see, and you can see that line right there. You see where he is on the rubber, and it's just trying to keep him from, throwing across his body.
And a ground out handled easily there by Brendan Ryan. Look at the Cardinals defense here today, presented by Auto Tire. Duncan, Rasmus, and Ludwig in the outfield, and Keel on the bench today. Tyler Green, his first ever start at third in the major leagues. Ryan Schumacher and Pujols round out the infield. Brad Thompson, Yadier Molina, our battery here this afternoon. Here's Todd Helton, the first baseman, hitting .311. There is some news, by the way, concerning Khalil Green. He packed up his bags and he is headed for a rehab assignment. They're agreeing with the Cardinals that he has made progress and ready to return to competition. He'll have 20 days down there if he needs them all, and then rejoin the club, but he's ready to start playing baseball again.
It's good to see that. His spirits are good.
There's a base hit into right. Maybe just needed to get away, clear his mind. And he's not the only one that we've seen in the major leagues that's happened to this year. Joey Votto was having an outstanding year, and he had to take some time off and get away from the game.
Hard to understand, and as I mentioned, Brad Thompson's going to have his work cut out as lefties are batting over .350 now with Helton's hit. And there's, if you count the switch hitter Fowler in there and Marquis hitting, there's 6 left-handed bats in this lineup.
Ouch. Got to be better against those lefties, no doubt.
And career-wise against the Rockies, very good ERA of 150 and a 2-0 record.
Brad Hopp is riding a 9-game hitting streak. He's hit .361 during the streak. 2 outs and a short lead at first. That's the third longest active streak right now in the National League. Over 100 total bases this year, and arguably he has been their biggest threat offensively this year.
Just 3 for 13 in the first 3 games of this series, and not much better on the road trip. Well, I guess just under 300 with a home run. And 352 against right-handed pitching.
I think one thing that his teammates enjoy, talking about Brad Thompson, is the pace at which he pitches. It is quick.
Well, he's a ground ball pitcher because of that sinker, and we always talk about how the infielders love that. They're on their toes. You usually get pretty good defense behind him. 1-2
pitch on the inside corner. Good start for Brad Thompson. Strikes out Hopp. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. his lineup today. Skip Schumacher, of course, the leadoff man, followed by Rasmus and then Pujols here in the first. Ludwig, Duncan, Molina, one hit away from 500 for Yachty. Tyler Green, Brad Thompson, and Brendan Ryan. And they'll face the former Cardinal, Jason Marquis, our Marshall Wireless starter for the Rockies.
Jason, with a win today, would make him the win leader in the National League. He's pitched very well in day games and very well on the road.
Mentioned before he was part of that 06 team, but not really in the postseason, as Marquis many times is the ideal guy for a back-end rotation, a 4 or 5, because he'll pile up innings and normally get you double digits in wins. But when it comes to the postseason, you need those 3 horses if you can get them. And he was one of the guys that seemed to be left out in his 3 years here in St. Louis. Gonzalez, Fowler, and Hopp in the outfield. Stewart, Tulowitzki, Varmus, and Helton along the infield. And Jason Marquis and Paul Phillips, the battery today. The Rockies defense presented by Auto Tire.
Now, how about Jason? He's a 9-year veteran, and all 9 years his team has reached postseason play.
It's amazing. Atlanta, St. Louis, and Chicago most recently. Here's Rasmus. He shoots one the opposite way. Playing shallow, though. They'll make the catch. It's Carlos Gonzalez. To get this lineup going, have you thought about the possibility of maybe dropping Colby Rasmus more into a power position in the lineup, either hitting behind Pujols or maybe even fifth? I'm sure it's something that's been talked about.
Yeah, it makes some sense, other than the fact that I think they're so guarded against trying to make him believe that he's a power guy. You know, he's really been driving the ball well, a lot of extra base hits of late, but remember, that's the last thing they want him to think of right now is hitting home runs.
It's been all Pujols as of late, as he picked up a pair of RBIs on one swing of the bat yesterday, and it didn't leave the park. My goodness. Left field, and it's caught at the wall. Boy, you hit that a mile high. And Pujols retired as Gonzalez makes the catch at the wall. Just enough room. Yesterday hit that fly ball that scored 2, and you have to go back to the 1982 World Series where he had 2 runners tag up and score. And it was against the Milwaukee Brewers. Tommy Herr at the plate and some speed on the bases.
See Gorman Thomas going back. Ozzie had tagging up at second. Gorman falls down, and so that allows Ozzie to score from second base. And in yesterday's ball game, Gonzalez made a very fine play out in left center, and he collided with the wall, fell down, flipped the ball to his center fielder, and 2 RBIs on the sac fly as Rasmus scored from second.
Here is Ian Stewart. You know, the players back then were a little smaller, I noticed in that flashback, and speed was definitely part of the Cardinals game.
Oh, I don't know why we're laughing.
Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, and Carlos Gonzalez here in the top of the second. On a hop to Brendan Ryan. He'll make the play for the first out to start the second.
2 guys working quickly. Both of them get a lot of ground balls. And this could be a quick ball game.
Jason Marquis, by the way, in the bottom of the first only threw 5 pitches. And thus far, Thompson at 14.
A couple fly ball outs for Jason.
It was fun to hear, by the way, Randy Flores in the pregame, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Randy Flores was part of the pregame with Jim Hayes. And, you know, you think about all these guys that are still left in the game that aren't with the Cardinals, that were part of that 2006 run to the World Series. And one of the most important innings put together by anybody was Randy Flores. Worked a scoreless 7th in Game 2 of the World Series, but you got to think about what he did against the Mets. Game 7 of the NLCS had an inning of relief. He came in with 1 out and retired the next 3 batters on a couple of strikeouts and a ground out. Good play there by Brendan Ryan circling the baseball, but good to see Randy Flores back in the major leagues. If you're traveling and can't catch the Cardinals TV broadcast, catch all the action on your computer at MLB.tv. Over 100 live out-of-market games per week. For complete details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. I'm sure Brad Thompson happy to see Randy Flores.
Well, you would think, but Randy, an ordained minister, administered the wedding ceremony for Brad Thompson this offseason. That doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't. I was trying to think of any ordained ministers in other sports that might have presided over a wedding for a teammate. There's not many that just come to mind, are there? What about Reggie White, maybe?
Yeah. No, he was a minister. I don't know if he presided over any weddings of teammates.
3-0. Randy's one of the real good guys in baseball, and he did a lot of speaking engagements when he was with the Cardinals and talking to kids. He was hilarious on the Caravan. He'd take part in that every year. And missed here in St. Louis.
Now he's healthy once again. That's why he's performing well.
And that's a base hit on a pitch that was up. So Carlos Gonzalez is aboard with a 2-out base hit, and it brings in Paul Phillips.
Very highly touted young man that was just called up first game of this series against the Cardinals, and he picks up his 2nd National League hit. Came over from Oakland in the Matt Holliday deal.
So a 2-out base hit, and Phillips.
He had a big game yesterday. 4 hits, 4 for 5, including his first National League home run.
Things really haven't worked out as they thought in Oakland. They're 25-30. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They picked up Matt Holliday. They had Giambi, but they had young starters, and they went to opening day with 4 of their 5 starters at 24 years of age or younger. It's tough to win like that.
Growing pains.
They figured they'd be able to score a lot of runs. Holliday helps, Giambi helps, but it's not been enough. And another ground ball. Brendan over to first, stays with it, and gets Phillips. Rockies have stranded 2. Ryan Ludwig leads it off when we come back. Right, left, and the ones hit right at you, too.
Well, we'll watch the first one as Brendan Ryan kind of circles it and everything, get a little momentum, a little speedier runner. Guy's got the catcher running for the final out, and he's a little more squared up. It's right at him, takes a tricky hop, catches it as it goes off his, rolls up his wrist, and throws him out. So Brendan Ryan's already been busy. It's, well, Kinder will tell you, it's not always the ability to square up to a ball and play it. Sometimes you have to play it, and they practice playing it to the side.
And he is a guy that we don't see him, especially lately, throw it over the top.
Brendan Ryan.
Yeah, he's more just slinging it over there to first base.
He's only made one error in the season, but it's a style that I don't prefer. It's but as long as you're making good throws, the likelihood of the ball sailing on you is much greater.
2-1. From a manager's perspective, I'm sure in your 13 years in the big leagues and a number of years around baseball, you've dealt with teams that haven't been hitting. From a manager's perspective, how do you get things going?
It's real tough because you got to keep on showing confidence in guys. You want them not to chase.
That's hit to third. Ian Stewart with the play. Saturday, your Cardinals will be on Fox. Pujols and the Redbirds try to keep pace in the Central. They'll head to Cleveland, take on Victor Martinez and the Indians. Interleague showdown. Mets, Yankees, White Sox, Brewers. Fox Saturday baseball at 3. But it is very tough to try to jumpstart an offense when really nobody outside of Pujols is hitting all that well.
Yeah, you can kind of look at matchups and see if a guy's hot against one guy. But right now, if they're taking quality at bats, not chasing balls out of the strike zone. But one of the biggest problems the Cardinals have had is not only are they not hitting or getting timely hitting, but they're not receiving any walks at all. They're a team that rarely strikes out or doesn't strike out to a large degree.
It's slowly hit towards first, and that is a fair ball. That's called by the home plate umpire, not the first base umpire.
2 times there, Chris Duncan is trying to pull an outside pitch. Rolling over, usually you're going to make it out.
The other problem that you have when you don't hit, we've talked about it a number of times, and obviously the Cardinals aren't hitting. As a team, you look flat. Crowd's not into it. You just watch how the team plays. You look flat. Not to say that you are, it's just the perception of when you don't hit, you look flat.
Yes, and this is a team that, they thought was going to be a good offensive ball club. I questioned that.
You did. I remember in spring training you said that.
Yeah, in April, they made me look bad because they had hit for 285, the highest average in the National League. They scored the most runs. But one of the things that I see is a lot of young hitters that don't have a established track record. They've had guys that have had good half years. Obviously, Molina hit a career high 304 last year. Albert Pujols is off the charts, Hall of Fame career. Ludwig had the super season last year, but when you talk about Ankiel and Duncan, just haven't put together a full season.
Molina to third. Cardinals go quietly here in the bottom of the second. After 2, no score here at Busch. It's turned out to be a gorgeous day so far. Understand that there is rain as far as a possibility this afternoon here in St. Louis. And we were pelted this morning early on around 7 o'clock.
You're a little further west because it was about 7:30 for me.
And here is Marquis. He's won a Silver Slugger Award when he was with the Cardinals.
Good hitting pitcher, and he's got 7 wins, 4 of which are on the road. And he is a very good pitcher in day games.
You figure if you pitch in Chicago,
you better be.
Yeah. All those day starts at Wrigley Field, you know, so he's a few wins away from being double digits for the 6th consecutive season in wins.
That's right. And, you know, in day games, he's got 18 wins over the last few years. And only Ted Lilly has 1 more, the most in the National League.
And really, you can look at his time in St. Louis when he got his career going. Went 15-7 that first year. This is popped up and playable. Tyler Green with the catch. He was 15-7, 13-14, then 14-16. The 16 losses led the league, but he got a shot here, and this is where he really made it happen.
Well, it was a very good trade, as the eye patch has been removed from Big Mac Land. Albert knocked it out this last homestand, and since that time the Cardinals have hit 16 home runs, and 14 of those have been solo shots.
Here is Dexter Fowler, who grounded out to second his first time up. 1 out, nobody on. He was part of the Olympic team that got a bronze medal for Team USA and played with Brian Barton on that team.
Where Brian Barton was sent down from the Atlanta Braves, sent down back down to the minor AAA, and in his stay in Atlanta he did not have an at bat.
So it's 3 balls and no strikes. Infielder Joe Thurston, by the way, will leave after the game today to join his wife in California. They're about to have the birth of their first child. Will rejoin the team Thursday in Florida. It's a lot of flying for Joe. He'll go to California and then fly to Florida. And then after that game Thursday, we head to Cleveland for interleague play. So got to figure there's a few more things in baseball on his mind right now. Birth of his first child.
And they have another little girl, but this would be his first. And he might fly there without the plane.
That's the first walk issued by Thompson.
Got to be careful with that. You know, the way this ball club's swinging the bats, but he's only a ground ball from getting to double play.
Now it's Clint Barmas. Would you talk to starting pitchers throughout the major leagues, Al? How much did they show first time through a lineup?
Most of the time it used to be you establish your fastball, and you know, today you throw every pitch. Rarely do you repeat fastballs. Fowler is a threat to steal. He tied a modern day record earlier this year with 5 steals in 1 game.
So 1 out and a runner at first. Barmas in his career with Colorado has been up and down. Got off to a great start. He was their shortstop for a long time, and then really hit a wall. There was that breaking ball, then a strike. Speaking of hitting a wall, how about Troy Tulowitzki? Hasn't been the same since their World Series year.
But I think right now you're seeing the future. Barmas at second base, Tulowitzki at shortstop, and Stewart, who has just been a one-man wrecking crew, is the third baseman. Only been playing second base because of Atkins.
Tulowitzki, in my mind, is a good example of, if you're a young player in the game and offered a long-term contract like he was at pretty decent money, pretty big money, why wouldn't you take it? You know, you run the risk of either having bad seasons or injury, whatever the case may be, just to make a little bit more, but he has set up the rest of his life. And now Barmas is hit by the pitch. So he has walked a man and hit a man now. And runners at first and second. Molina out to visit.
Just got away from him, as talked about him throwing across his body a little bit. You don't get that leg over all the way, then that your arm is kind of dragging. It just have that trajectory where you can't get it into the plate, and it just drills Barmes. And bringing up Helton, who is an outstanding hitter, and especially with runners in scoring position.
So only one out. Runners at first and second. Helton hitting .352 with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals have been slapped around in this series by Colorado, and now the Rockies playing with all kinds of confidence, trying to score first here in Game 4 and set this tone for the possible sweep. Up the middle, base hit. Pass Schumacher into center field. They'll throw behind the runner at second. They got him, but a run scores to make it 1-0. That's bad base running there by Barmes.
Under control, but that's a 41st RBI for Helton. As there you see the good movement, but a low ball hitter, and Rasmus just hitting the cutoff man, and Ryan sneaks in right there as he Barmes rounds the bag. Not under control, and that's a gift right there for the Cardinals.
Brings in Hop, who was called out on strikes his first time up. Hits it the other way. It's pretty well hit. Duncan is back against the wall to make the catch. Well, here in the top of the third, Todd Helton is now 2 for 2 with his base hit up the middle to score Dexter Fowler midway through 3, and it's 1-0. Fest is something you can bring your kids down to, and apparently it's an experience that you'll really enjoy. It's a week-long celebration of baseball here in town.
You like the Cardinals winter warm-up, just add about 5 times more excitement to it. How much bigger and a lot more to do.
We've been talking so much about the All-Star game now for the last couple of years. Hard to believe it's only a month away. July 14th on Fox. 1-1 pitch to Tyler Green. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will have the game on Fox.
Nice logo, isn't it?
It is. Bailed that last year. 1-2 the count on Tyler Green. First ever start at third base in the major leagues here today. Ground ball to short. Tulowitzki up with it to make the play. So Marquis now is seeing 7, and 7 have gone down very quietly.
Marquis has been very solid too in going deep into ball games. Giving you that 7 innings consistently. Already has 1 complete game this season.
5 of the 7 outs have been on the ground, and that's something that Dave Duncan, when Marquis was here, wanted to always see. Wanted to always see that sinker and just pound it in the strike zone.
I asked Dave one time, I said, you know, when you got a outstanding sinker, why can't you just throw that exclusively? And he says, well, you mix in a changeup to get him off it. And I said, well, why does Marquis want to throw a curveball and slider? He goes, he feels in order to be a complete pitcher, you have to throw curveballs and sliders. And at that time I said, so he wants to give the opposition a chance to beat him. And he pretty much said exactly.
Well, I remember talking with Kyle Loge last year. After one of his starts, he threw about 105 to 110 pitches, and he was telling me probably 90 to 95 of the pitches were the 2-seamers. Just trying to get that sink on the ball. Ian Stewart could play to his left. So you're talking about, you know, a guy just pounding in the strike zone with that downward action, and he was able to do it. Now, Jason Marquis, we're talking about him with this front leg being a little bit more sturdy than what we've seen before, and how he lands and where he goes with it. This is the Exmo cam.
He used to really swing that leg around, and now they've got him to have a little better balance. And he's such a good athlete. He's always had the ability to field his position, but it looks a little smoother than what we're accustomed to.
Definitely that left leg is not nearly as pronounced going back towards center field.
Right. Used to swing it all the way back, and
then all of a sudden your arm's trying to catch up.
Trying to catch up. Exactly right. He's pretty much, you know, brings it right up, and he's got full balance now.
Right center field, a base hit for Brendan Ryan. The first Cardinal hit. He's going to try for 3. And he's in there. He better be. 2-out triple for Brendan Ryan. With 2 outs, you better be sure that you're going to be safe at third base.
Well, right now you've got to generate something too. So it's kind of you better be safe. You don't want to make the first or third out of an inning at third base, but you also got to push it a little bit. You know, with his speed, he probably is going to score on any base hit from second base. But if you get over to third, many more ways to score. It's not beyond the realm of a sinker ball or throwing a ball in the dirt and having him score that way.
Here's Skip Schumacher. You may have noticed, good play to keep it in front. On the slide, he was going in hard. And these bases at this level are just pounded into the ground. Look at that left leg as he went into the base. Not a lot of give.
That's a, you know, we heard of pop-up slides. Well, that's not quite what they talk about, but in essence, he did pop straight up. That knee
out of necessity
jammed into the bag quickly.
It was the Exmo cam brought to you by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and that gets away. Brendan trying to score, and he will. So he takes the chance to go to third base, and it pays off for the Cardinals. Wild pitch, and Brendan Ryan scores to tie it up at 1.
When you're struggling to score runs, sometimes you have to take chances, and said with a sinker baller, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that a ball get in the dirt and get away from the catcher. Earlier, Phillips made a nice, you know, block and kept him from scoring, but not on this one.
And as you said, Al, that's maybe the reason that he goes and takes that chance to go to third base. You never know what happens.
Well, and that's one of the things that we've always liked about Brendan Ryan is he sometimes makes mistakes, but they're mistakes of aggression. But we always credit him for trying, and he's always hustling out there, and this time it paid off. The thing about Marquis is, we've seen at times where he gets very stubborn, or after he makes that wild pitch, you may want to take advantage of it because he might get mad at himself, and then you've got a little window to where you can do a little more damage.
Larry Rothschild dealt with him in Chicago. Of course, Dave Duncan right here. He was surrounded by great pitchers that were basically pseudo pitching coaches in Atlanta with Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox. And there is a walk, the first one issued by Marquis today.
Apataka, longtime pitcher in the big leagues. Very fine pitching coach right now, and everybody likes to work with Jason and his immense talent, but sometimes he just doesn't listen. And you can also say that he's bounced around and been in good situations where first 9 years, every year that his team has gone to postseason.
At times, Dave Duncan would try to push him too to be more than just a 10, 11, 12 game winner. Certainly we've seen he's a big, strong guy. Not tall, but put together.
7-4. He's got a decision in every start this season.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Colby Rasmus. Lined up the middle. Watch out, Jason. Almost took his head off. How about Rasmus? He's really starting to come into his own.
To me, and I know with a rookie, you're trying to pick his spots, trying to always make sure. But to me, he's got to be in the lineup every single day. When you're struggling for offense, and this kid is producing, he's got to be out there every day. Ride the hot horse. I'm talking about with Jason, sometimes, he'll let that little wild pitch affect him, and you've got this little window to where, you've got to take advantage of it. And Cardinals are going to have their best option right now with Albert Pujols.
Just cruising along as he had the first two ground outs to third here in the bottom of the third. Triple by Brendan Ryan. Wild pitch. He would score to tie it up. A walk to Schumacher. Line drive base hit by Colby Rasmus. And it's first and second now for Albert Pujols, who flied to deep left his first time up. 14 pitches the first 2 innings and 18 here in the third for Marquis.
Rocky's been doing a lot of scoring with 2 outs. Maybe the Cardinals can do the same.
It's been Albert or nothing for this Cardinal offense, and in this spot Marquis will pitch to him, but again, with the guys around Pujols not really producing at this point to where we know that they can, the question is always going to be asked, why would you pitch to Pujols?
And Albert is 1 for 11 in this series.
One ball, one strike. A hard slider that time by Marquis. And Pujols backing off the plate.
Mentioned that Albert is 1 for 11 in this series, but he's had very few opportunities to drive in. Got the sacrifice fly for 2 RBIs yesterday. But one thing that Colorado is really concentrated on is making sure that for the most part there's nobody on base when he does come up. And that's why we always talk about the importance of having hitting not only in front of Albert but behind him on top of it. Rockies are now 6-4 under Jim Tracy since he took over for Clint Hurdle.
Familiar with the West, of course, with his time with the Dodgers, then Pittsburgh, and now Colorado. 1-2 the count. Pujols chases that pitch. Didn't look comfortable with that slider. Marquis got him to chase, and the Cardinals strand 2, but they tie it up at 1. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Thompson back to work. Top of the 4th rolls in. And a strike to Stewart.
Well, he's opened up your eyes with his 5 straight multi-hit games and 12 RBIs in the last 5 games.
Out of Asheville, North Carolina. And quickly, that's strike 2. Just turned 24.
Hit 3 home runs in this series. Has 9 RBIs in the first 3 games of this 4-game set.
And that's pulled foul. He was the first high school position player ever drafted by the Rockies in the 1st round.
Reluctant to do so, and they found a good one.
We've got the upcoming Major League Draft this week.
It's going to be on MLB, right?
Yeah, it's not quite the theatrics of the NFL draft or even the NHL draft, which has gotten fairly big, especially up in Canada. But I'm looking forward to at least seeing the first rounders and who's out there.
I guess tomorrow will be the first 3 rounds, and then on Tuesday, the rest.
You see the Firestone leaderboard, the rookie doubles leaders. Joe Thurston tied for first with 13.
Fowler out there in center field. Of course, Kobe leads in home runs and RBIs amongst all the rookies.
There's a strikeout on the outside corner, his 2nd of the afternoon. Thompson does not waste time. He goes pretty much right at the hitters. So we saw him do that as a reliever when he first came up. The Cardinals and Fox Sports Midwest, we will be at the Champions Club on June 17th. The Tigers, Detroit will be in town for interleague play. And we'll have the call from over there. We'll set up our broadcast booth at the Champions Club. Al and Rick will be signing autographs, and we'll have a lot of fun. And 2 full-service bars, great view of the game from the third base suite level. Few tickets remain, not many, for that Champions Club game on the 17th.
About 30 tickets remain.
Okay. They've got the carving station, the buffet. Great place to take in the game. The Champions Club on June 17th. Get your tickets at stlcardinals.com.
I know I can't ask you this, but I should ask Ricky, because he would be the authority. How many bars do they have there?
I believe it's 2 full service bars.
Yeah, like I said, Ricky would be the one that would definitively be able to tell us.
I hope we get him on the game early, because who knows what may happen.
You never know.
Midway or late with Ricky.
Yeah, it's either Champions Club or Aqua Bar.
Here's a ground ball hit to short, and Brendan Ryan takes it, so 2 away. Brendan has been busy today. That is his 5th ground ball that he's seen.
These infielders love it. You know, when you got a sinker ball out there, they know they're going to be active. Sometimes it's the outfielders that fall asleep.
Are you ready for Florida?
Yes.
We are off to Florida, and 2 of the 3 games are night games, and then we'll have the Thursday getaway. We head to Cleveland. Here's a ground ball, and quick work for Mr. Thompson. Ludwig leads it off when we come back. Ludwig, Duncan, Molina due up for St. Louis. We're tied up at 1. One for 16 with runners in scoring position, 3 RBIs. Had the lead for just 5 innings, outscored 29-8. Conversely, the Rockies 16 for 35 with runners in scoring position. Ouch.
You know, you win as a team, you lose as a team, but right now it's a tough feeling for starting pitchers. And they feel if they give up a couple runs that they have no chance of winning. They got to turn that around.
Ludwig has seen his average dip to under 240, 9 home runs, 28 RBIs. And a ground ball hit to third. He'll be 0 for 2. Twice he has grounded to third. So the Cardinals head to Florida tomorrow to begin a 3-game series with the Marlins. Coverage starts at 5:30. We'll have our pregame show. Cardinals Live. Cardinals and Marlins tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest.
Very good matchup there. Josh Johnson is 5-1, good ERA. Carpenter's been nearly unhittable with his 4-0 and 0.71 ERA.
Well, Carpenter, I brought this up the other day, certainly has put himself at least in the outskirts of the conversation of being an all-star this year. Todd Helton misplays it, and Duncan is safe at first.
Todd Helton, a very good and Gold Glove winning first baseman, and this is one of the rare times you see him misplay a ball. And they were given an error. Just he probably can't believe it.
Exmo Cam brought to you by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Location 1 block south of the ballpark on Broadway.
His second error of the season. Make it hurt.
It's a former Gold Glove winner over there at first base.
Marquis is looking he's tied for the league lead in wins with 7. So, really Carpenter's not that far off the pace at 4-0.
Now you take a look, how many starts would he have between now and when the all-star rosters need to be in? And again, I'll go back to this. If this is not an exhibition, it's truly a competition, which it is for home field advantage. Who else would you want on the mound than Chris Carpenter?
Remember, the managers are picking those pitchers.
And that's why I say, he'd be my guy.
Well, and I'm not too sure that he won't be there. I told him just yesterday, I said, nice going, but I said, we've come to expect it. And he said, that's all right.
He loves it. Responsibility of being the ace, yeah.
You're that good, you can handle it.
Let's see if Marquis gets a little unnerved after the error by Todd Helton. As Marquis had 2 outs last inning, was sailing along, had not given up a hit. Then the triple by Brendan Ryan. A wild pitch, he scored. He walked the next man, gave up a blistering single off the bat of Colby Rasmus. Molina certainly a double play candidate.
Dan, sometimes it's when you make a mistake, by throwing the wild pitch, that you lose your concentration. When somebody else makes an error, you can keep your focus, and many times you use that as motivation to prove or to show that teammate, I'm not going to let it come back and hurt you.
1-2 pitch. Trying to generate any kind of offense.
There was a smart pitch right there as Molina, who is very good to go into the opposite fields, trying to shoot for right field. So he really made sure he buried the ball inside on his hands, where in self-defense he couldn't inside out it. He had to go try and pull it.
In a way, I was a little surprised the Cardinals didn't try to hit and run. That's a fair ball. May have landed right on the line. It'll be first and third with only 1 out. But the point being, you're trying to get this offense jump started any way you can. And Molina doesn't strike out and guides it to right.
Right, and you got a ground ball specialist out there just inside the line, clearly a base hit, and the Cardinals have something going first and third with only 1 out. Duncan going over to third, but a guy like Jason Marquis is 1 pitch away from getting out of this. 1 more ground ball in the infield, and he's got his double play.
Tyler Green will be the hitter. It was hit number 500 for Yadier Molina. Runners at the corners. Tyler Green grounded out to short his first time up. And a pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. So important, those first pitch strikes, and that was a nasty one there on the outside corner. If you're Marquis too, you've got the pitcher on deck. That's something that also plays into this. This is a big at bat for the Cardinals. Needs to put the ball in play. Strike 2.
Be honest, you've got the pitcher on deck, but you've got so much confidence in retiring this battle. He may not get his double play.
See, sets up outside. Nearly chased. Yes, he did. He went. So a strikeout of Green as he carved him up on 3 pitches. Now it's up to Brad Thompson. Looks like he got him on a slider.
Yeah, finished him off on a slider. Let's watch the whole sequence. There's the slider, or there's the last pitch. And you see how far Phillips is set up outside. He's just looking for that, either that perfect pitch, see if the guy will chase, or he's not going to leave it in an area where he can get hurt.
Up to Thompson, who grounded out to third first time up. 2 outs and runners at the corners. Brad Thompson, of course, very proud of his start at the plate, swinging the bat, in a recent Hongo Award winner.
We messed up by giving it to him. We could have a little fun with him begging for it every week.
Maybe a little bit extra motivation.
Yeah, especially now as that 1,000 batting average is down to 200.
Fly ball out to left. The Cardinals strand 2. The big strikeout of Tyler Green. We played 4th, and it's 1-1. And Jason Marquis, the former teammates, and ground balls have been the order of the day, especially for Thompson and that good sinker ball.
He's doing a nice job. He's only thrown 49 pitches through 4 innings, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ground ball. He struck out a couple. He had the Kobe Rasmus threw out Barmas at second base, so that's why he totals up to 11 outs, 7 ground balls.
So the Cardinals head to Florida and then off to Cleveland after the ball game today. Carpenter on the mound tomorrow will come your way at 5:30. Cardinals start today at 31-26. The Rockies 24-32. The Rockies playing very good baseball as of late.
Won 4 in a row, and all 4 of those on the road. They go to Milwaukee after this afternoon's game.
That is bunted foul.
Smart.
Not an easy play for Tyler Green, because it's bunted hard. If he lets it go and it stays fair, you're thinking, well, he might wind up at second base.
Well, that's what I'm saying. His smart play, as he really had a tough decision, but he made the right one, and letting that ball continue to roll, and it continued, and finally was foul ball.
And he's playing
but what you're
third base.
saying is if it, and we've seen it times on this field where the ball will start out, look like it's going to go foul and curve back and be a fair ball. That ball goes down the line and possibly a double.
And it's not easy because he is playing out of position. He's playing third base, and that goes right by him into left field.
And they're playing out of position. You would like to think most third basemen make this play. He is looked like his footwork got a little tangled up, and what should have been a ground ball out goes through. That ball has to be made. punish your pitcher by scoring a base hit.
Here's Marquis, and he looks at a strike. When he was with Tony La Russa, he would pull back, and Tommy is thinking right along with me.
And this guy Rowland got hurt, and I didn't know he came back here.
And Tyler Green is wearing that number 27. Here's Molina to second. He'll fire there, out as Ryan steps on the bag, but he wasn't on it initially.
You got to take that like a first baseman, and then you got a possible chance for a double play, as he almost blew that play by not getting the force out at second. Deadens the ball too much right there, and you know, it's a good way to get hurt too.
His foot was actually behind the bag.
Stretch out and then try to complete the double play.
Marquis runs well. It would have been tough, but he's also hitting from the left side, but still would have been close.
What if he tripped, stumbled going down the line?
I'm going to play the percentages and think that he probably wouldn't, but I know what you're saying. Here is Dexter Fowler. One out and a runner at first. Tyler Green playing in at third.
Kinder just kind of, we'll work on that one tomorrow.
Yeah, we get here early at the ballpark, and Jose Oquendo is out there with Skip Schumacher, usually about 3.5 hours before the first pitch. Also working with Brendan Ryan and Tyler Green. 2 balls and no strikes. Joe Patini has also been working with Skip an awful lot.
Patini goes, huh? And Oquendo went, ay caramba.
Skip was telling me the other day that the mental grind of playing second base, it's starting to lessen a little bit, to where he's becoming a little bit more comfortable out there at second base. What has been not an easy transition for him at all, going from the outfield to a middle infield position.
It's a very difficult and one that is extremely rare.
I was happy to hear that, because he beats himself up.
Yeah, an outfielder will, can make a easier transition to either first or third. But for somebody to come from the outfield and come into play middle infield is very difficult.
And a walk. It's the second time that he has walked Dexter Fowler. 57 pitches today for Thompson. This date in history, the Cardinals fire Kenny Boyer between games of a doubleheader in Montreal. Back in St. Louis, Whitey Herzog is named manager at a press conference held at Grant's Farm back in 1980. This date in Cardinals history brought to you by Schnucks. Whitey, of course, would win the World Series in '82 and get there in '85 and '87. Pulled off the trade to get Ozzie to St. Louis. Clint Barmas hit by a pitch and also grounded out to short. Molina wanted to. It's a design play between he and Pujols.
Picked off 30 Molina has in his young career at first base.
Runners at first and second. The 1-1 pitch. Pulled foul, a hanging breaking ball.
Barmas has had a very good series, 7 for 15.
Played at Indiana State and grew up a Cardinals fan. The Sycamores.
And sends Indiana as his hometown.
Indiana State in the Missouri Valley Conference. 1-2 the count, which is St. Louis based. Up the middle, Schumacher won't get it. Rasmus, his throw will go into third base. Not in time. And the Rockies back on top 2-1 as Marquis scores. So Barmes picks up his 27th RBI. Rasmus seemed to be a little hesitant as to whether or not he wanted to go home or go to third.
A little extra crow hop in the exchange right there, and he had no chance with Marquis running at home. The closest throw was going to be at third, but Fowler has that exceptional speed there. At least you have the double play still in order.
He had Green over there at third base, should have come up with that ball, and now that runner comes around to score in Jason Marquis. Here's Helton, who's committed an error today, but he's 2 for 2 and has an RBI. Check swing and a strike. Keep an eye on the pitch count of Thompson. Don't know how deep he could go today. Just making his second start.
He had 49 pitches through 4 innings. Now he's up to 63. And Reyes is standing on the mound.
I figure it's a very long leash out there for Thompson to wiggle out of any kind of trouble he may have.
I think he'd be a little disappointed if he can't get through this 5th inning. We said this is going to be a tough lineup for him with all the left-handed batters.
We saw Thompson in the previous start really pitch inside and was effective at doing that, and today he has not been pitching inside as much.
It's inside to the right-handed batters, and here, you know, with all the lefties predominantly away.
2-1. It's a good read, and Barmes is safe at second base, so a base hit could make it 4-1. That eliminates the possibility of the double play. So wild pitch charged. Just little things in this inning. Green not coming up with that ball. Brendan Ryan not ready to receive it from Molina for a potential double play. A wild pitch. The little things at this level will cost you. The 3-1. And they'll load him up for Brad Hopp. So 2 walks in the inning.
Doesn't get any easier with Brad Hopp, who's leading the world with runners in scoring position, a 449 average. And we showed you that graphic earlier of how well the Rockies have hit in this series with runners in scoring position.
Well, Tony La Russa pulled Thompson here to set up the lefty-lefty. Realizing that his team isn't scoring runs, you can't go much further.
No.
Because they could explode this game right here, wide open.
No, and I'm sure right now that sent Molina out there to stall. You see Duncan on the phone trying to get confirmation that Reyes is ready, and here comes Tony.
So the inning started with a base hit by Phillips, fielder's choice, and then a couple of walks and a single by Barmes. That'll be it for Brad Thompson. Denny's Reyes in our Chevy call to the bullpen. The big lefty coming in, and he'll have the bases loaded. Brad Hopp coming up. the Cardinals and the Marlins. Chris Carpenter making that start for St. Louis. It's our Bud Light What's on Tap. Dennis Reyes, the 32-year-old lefty, takes over for Thompson, and he'll come into a situation with one out, the bases loaded, and facing arguably their hottest hitter in Brad Hopp. Dennis leads the Cardinals with 27 appearances, and lefties are only hitting 188 against him. That's it.
Had a very rough outing in that 9-run 7th inning as he faced 3 batters, and he gave up a hit and 2 walks, including the pitcher with the bases loaded. A 9-run inning. Didn't retire a batter. We've seen him do the job in the past, but as I said, Hopp is leading the National League with runners in scoring position, batting .449 in that department and batting over .300 against left-handed pitching.
No balls and 2 strikes.
That's right, Dan. When you're not scoring runs, you have to take advantage, and I know it's only Brad Thompson's second start going in for the disabled Kyle Loge, but this is not a good outing for him at all.
There's a high fly ball into right center field. Who wants it? Colby's got it. Makes the catch. Runners tag up from second and third, and it's 3-1 Colorado. So RBI for Hopp is 43rd. That scores Dexter Fowler. 3-1 Rockies. Brings in Ian Stewart. Hopp with his 43rd RBI. That run charge to Brad Thompson. I'm sure is disappointed that he didn't get through at least 5.
I threw 5 innings in his first start, and in many ways, you were hoping for him to go maybe 7, especially the way he was efficient through the first 4.
Ian Stewart is grounded out to short and struck out 0 for 2. Rockies have stranded 3 today. 2 balls and no strikes. Even though this has been a rough way to finish up the homestand, the Cardinals still find themselves at 5 games above the 500 mark and only 2 games out in the Central Division. Remember, this is what they did last year at times. They'd go on streaks where they'd win and lose. But by the end of the year, it just seemed like the team, for the most part, ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas and no help. And even as when they had their down periods last year, that wasn't as inept of offense as we're seeing here today, this year.
2-2. The Cardinals, if you're just joining us, with 3 base hits today. Colorado with 5. Rockies scored the 3rd and scored 2 now here in the 5th.
2 walks in this inning. One's already come around to score.
And a full count. Remember the 06 year, Cardinals had some pretty prolonged losing streaks, and it almost cost them down the stretch where they coughed up a pretty big lead and then got hot in postseason play. Great play by Ronnie Belliard against San Diego, and that set the tone. That championship year, to put it in perspective, the Cardinals had 2 8-game losing streaks and 1 7-game losing streak.
Only won 83 games. Were the wild card team, and then got hot and played the best in postseason play. Rarely do you see an 83 win team win a world championship.
Here's a ground ball hit to short. Brendan Ryan had him play perfectly for the out. Rockies strand 2 midway through 5. They're back on top. They lead it by 2. It's 3-1. Affleck trivia question. I think Girardi would have to be one on that. And Eric Wedge. Affleck trivia question. Don Baylor, I believe, was the first manager. Who was their first draft choice?
Expansion draft.
Right.
David Need was a right-hander out of the Atlanta organization, if not mistaken.
Here's Brendan Ryan showing bunt and takes a strike. Cardinals trail 3-1 in their half of the fifth.
Got to get something going, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Brendan hit a triple and then came around to score on a wild pitch.
0-2. When they first opened up, played at Mile High and then eventually moved into Coors Field. Record crowds. It was amazing. The amount of people coming through the turnstiles to watch baseball in Denver. Still a record in the major leagues. Over 280,000 people in a 4-game series for the Cardinals and the Rockies. And out west, because of the reach of KMOX radio, a lot of fans out west grew up Cardinal fans, listening to Harry Carey and Jack Buck over the years, and Mike Shannon.
Dan, for a couple decades, Major League Baseball resisted putting a team in Denver because they thought they wouldn't draw. Thought that the Rocky Mountains would be a barrier.
I wonder if they resisted as well because of how the game would be played out there too. I wonder if that even came across their minds. You know,
they had AAA baseball for
they should know
for for decades, and the Rockies make their AAA franchises in Colorado Springs. Remember the first few games that you saw out there. I remember doing the games, and you didn't really know who won. You're just so worn out after the game, you just figured you survived.
Remember how Tony used to approach going into Colorado too. He would a lot of times make a roster move to add a pitcher because of the all the runs that were scored, and the fact that your starters, you were lucky to get 6-7 innings out of them. Taxing on your bullpen, especially with a 4-game series.
You couldn't pull your starter, which you would at a normal sea level site. You know, you had to go with them a little bit longer because runs were going to be aplenty.
See Marquis getting upset himself. A 3-2 pitch to Brendan Ryan, and he struck him out.
Good pitch.
Third strikeout for Marquis. So there's one out. Hitting the ladder on the Green Monster will earn you the only ground rule triple in the majors. The ladder on the Green Monster, Fenway Park. Ground rule triple. Now, why wouldn't that just be in the field of play? Logical question, right?
Very logical. Why would it be an automatic triple? Ground rule triple.
I've said this before, and I don't know if you agree. I still can't believe that the Players Association allows the flagpole, the field of play, Tal's Hill in Houston.
Padded.
So was the wall out center.
Yeah, and it's still there.
I mean, you're out there trying to make an unbelievable catch, which Edmonds did a couple of times. There's a high fly ball into right field. And the catch made on the run by Brad Hopp. Schumacher gave it a ride. So there's 2 outs, and it brings in Rasmus.
And Edmonds never ran into that flagpole either, did he?
He's always a little short of it.
It's 420 feet away,
Hey, baseball, crazy things happen.
You worry about the silliest things.
That does make me. I get there and I lose sleep. What's going to happen on a fly ball to Towles Hill?
I think Tony and Hal McRae are losing sleep trying to figure out this offense.
You were a teammate of Hal McRae's. You know that this is just got to be eating him up, trying to figure out answers as to why this offense has gone to sleep. Popped up.
And whether you figure it out or not, it's going to be one of those days you wake up and they'll score 20 runs.
Marquis called off by the third baseman, and we played 5 here at Busch. It's 3-1. Place of the Cardinals, and the only site with Fan Protect guarantee. Scoring change for the Cardinals is Duncan's ground ball was ruled a base hit. We initially thought it was an error on the first baseman Todd Helton, but apparently it hit the bag. So because of that, change direction and a hit given to Duncan.
I think we ruled it correctly, and they changed it.
So here's Jason Mott. He'll be the third pitcher used for the Cardinals. Reyes 2/3 of an inning. Brad Thompson 4 1/3, 5 hits, all his runs, the 3 today. Charged against him, they were earned. And this is our Chevrolet called to the bullpen.
And Jason Mott can't wait to redeem himself for last Friday.
There's a fly ball into deep center field, and this ball is off the top of the wall and a home run.
Home run.
That'll be a home run for Troy Tulowitzki to make it 4-1. His 6th on a 1-0 pitch. It bounced back in the field of play, but it is a home run. 402 feet just over the wall.
Rasmus trying to go up on the wall and didn't get a glove on it. Saw the ball bounce back in play, but he goes up and it's behind his back a little bit. Just got over. Looked like it landed in the planting area.
It's about 2 feet from the top of the wall to the seats. And an 0-1 pitch. 4-1 now. Colorado. They're on the verge of a sweep in this 4-game series against the Cardinals. Shallow right, backing up Schumacher. And he makes the catch for the first out. So Tulowitzki is now 1 for 3 with that home run. His 18th RBI. And it brings in Paul Phillips, the catcher. believe that's the first home run that Mott has allowed in his career.
You know what? Pitch long enough, it won't be your last.
26 appearances for Mott this year. And opponents hitting .222 against him. Going more of the slider right now. Pitch that he's constantly trying to work on and get better. We know he's got the fastball, but can he develop that sharp slider in that secondary pitch?
It's kind of a fine line, because if you work so hard on it, it takes away from your fastball.
It's something that the relievers will do. They'll go out and play catch before the game. Mott has visited with his teammates about various ways to hold it, rip the baseball, and trying to develop that slider. Initially, one of the guys that we thought could be an all-star for the Cardinals. How about Ryan Franklin? The way that he started this season. He still might be in that conversation.
One of the tough things might be is how many representatives do you get? You know, it is in St. Louis. Guys sometimes, you know, have remarkable years, but trying to have a representative of all teams sometimes takes a deserving candidate off the roster.
Here's a grounder hit to short. 2-1. Brings in Marquis. Looking ahead to the Cardinals half of the sixth. Pujols, Ludwig, and Duncan coming up. So the big bats for the Cardinals. Marquis today has scored a run, and he's 0 for 2. Tried to sacrifice his last time up. Dead in a bunt in front of the plate with a runner at first, and Molina got that runner at second on the force play. He's also popped out to third. And a pitch taken a little bit low. Marquis is a free agent to be. Certainly one of the guys that you consider an innings eater, or at least potentially, as that's guided into right center. We saw that a time or two in St. Louis, didn't we?
Yes.
He could hit. Two hits in the inning allowed by Mott.
Very good athlete. Help his own cause, fielding and hitting.
Cardinals now out hit 7-4 in the game, trailing 4-1. Here's Dexter Fowler. Mentioned that we head to Florida, and this will be one of the final times that we see their ballpark, as they have gotten approval to move towards the old Orange Bowl. Which, if you're familiar with that area, it's not a great part of town.
Yeah, seems like another mistake.
That's it out of play. We talked about Colorado and the great fan support initially. On the other side, Marlins fans have gone through a couple of fire sales. They've also had a couple of World Series champions, and they came in the same year. The thing about the Marlins Stadium, it's in the middle of nowhere, and you look at Coors Field, it's been the centerpiece of revitalizing a portion of their downtown area, the Lodo area.
There is nothing to revitalize around the Orange Bowl site.
Here's the 0-2 pitch.
You know, Joe Robbie, you know, just surrounded by roads. There's no commercial, you know, to speak of, anything, restaurants or anything around there.
And that's a line drive over Schumacher into right field. 3 hits allowed by Mott. Clint Barmas will be the hitter. He's grounded out to short. He was hit by a pitch and also has an RBI single.
Breaking ball there. And that's the old fine line, Dan. You know, you go out there and you throw all fastballs, and eventually they center one. And they say, well, you can't throw all fastballs. Then you start throwing your breaking pitches, and they beat you on that. And they say, well, how dumb are you? You got beat on your second best pitch. After a while, you go, I'm going to pitch my own game.
So Barmes digs in. Runners at first and second with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Rockies have scored once in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, and 1 more in the 6th. 8 hits on the day, 3 in this inning. Barmes has his average up to 287 with 6 home runs and 27 RBIs. Fan favorite with the Rockies. Gritty, tough, hard-nosed player. Helton is on deck. See what Mott comes with on 0-2. There it is again, that slider wasted at that time.
Well, that's okay. You know, a hitter is going to try to see if they can eliminate pitches. You know he's got a good fastball, but if you can't command your slider, they kind of just forget about it.
And he got him to chase that time. Rockies strand 2, but they add to their lead. It's 4-1. Here.
All right, I want you to look at my scorecard. 6th inning. Who's leadoff hitter?
All right, that's Albert Pujols.
And what have I written down?
Made the prediction of a home run.
In pin.
Is this supposed to be for good luck or this?
No, it's because I forgot to turn it over when Tulowitzki hit his.
At least you're honest.
But
And I appreciate that about you, Al.
maybe, you know, I would have to change it unless he hits a home run. So
I see the whiteout is pretty close by, just in case.
That's for everything else I missed. Do by mistake.
So Al is predicting a home run.
In a roundabout way, yes, I am.
Okay, you're sticking to your guns here.
And Marquis has allowed 7 this year, soon to be 8.
First pitch is up and into Albert Pujols. Pujols today is flied out to left and struck out last time up as Marquis went with the slider. Hard hit to short. Get the whiteout out.
Should have been.
Tulowitzki puts him away for the first out. Came up just a bit short there, Al. And it brings in Ludwig, who's 0 for 2.
You know, I was about to amend one of my other statements, too. I've never seen a ground ball be hit out of the ballpark. But that was close.
Reaching. Pujols still leads in the National League balloting for the All-Star game over Ryan Howard. Chase Utley at second. David Wright at third. Jimmy Rollins now is ahead at short. Yadier Molina leads at catcher by a couple 100,000. Raul Ibanez is the leading outfield vote getter. 1.4 million votes he's gotten.
Well, look at all these Philadelphia votes, and I know Utley is getting closer and closer to Albert as the leading vote getter.
He's only 2,000 behind him.
2,000.
2,000.
How's that happen, folks?
So the outfield would be Ibanez, Braun, and Beltran. Soriano is just behind Carlos Beltran. Ludwig out to left, and he is 0 for 3. That's 7 straight set down by Marquis.
So Duncan is 1 for 2 on the day with the scoring change. Hitting .251 now.
And he looks at a strike. Crowd is very quiet and waiting for something to happen here. The right direction for the Cardinals. 0-1 pitch to Duncan.
Keep on working him away, and he keeps on trying to take that outside pitch, roll over and hit it to the right side.
Remember that last time he was up, we thought it was an error initially on Todd Helton. It was changed to a single. One thing about Duncan is that at least in the spring training months, he was hitting for power, and he only has 4 home runs so far this year. That's been a bit surprising.
And looked like he had power back and in the spring, and he has to hit for power. It really helped this ball club.
1-2 the count.
And usually, home runs, you don't want to have a guy go up there looking for home runs. See how the defense got him really to play to pull the ball in the infield, particularly on the right side. Just hit the ball hard and the home runs will follow.
2-2. Makes you wonder why more teams don't use the shift with Duncan up as he pulls an awful lot of balls. You see they bunch towards the line there with the second baseman and first baseman. Helton's not too far off the line. Outfield for the most part is straight away.
Stewart, third baseman, almost playing shortstop.
2-2 pitch. Duncan opposite field, but a lazy fly ball to Carlos Gonzalez. We played 6 here at Busch Stadium. Rockies lead it 4-1 over the Cardinals. game recap. It's 4-1 Rockies leading St. Louis. Brad Thompson made the start for the Redbirds. He went 4 1/3, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned. He walked 3 and hit a man. He struck out 2. This play by Green over third led to a run. And the Cardinals' run today was scored by Brendan Ryan on a wild pitch. Home run today. Off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop with his 6th. Get you caught up to date as Jim Tracy and the Rockies are trying to sweep.
They've never had a sweep in St. Louis. And let's hope that graphic that we showed you earlier about what the Rockies have done in the 7th inning and later in the first 3 games does not hold true. Trevor Miller will come in here.
Miller to face Todd Helton.
He almost got the Hungo Award the other day for coming in that finish up the 9 inning 7th inning, 9-run 7th inning with, and then he had four outs in that game. The only unscathed pitcher.
Now, when I wasn't here and Ricky was in my chair, Al, because you know how I value being able to announce the Hungo Award. Was he kind to your bobblehead? Because in years past, it tried to take the head off your beautiful Hungo bobblehead.
What don't you understand about trying and succeeding?
Then he had it taped, didn't he? Had it all taped up on the desk.
He ripped the head off, and he claims he only did it one time, but he's been trying to do it for about 3 years again.
So did he? Was he on set with you when you announced the Hungo Award, or was he over with Pat?
No, I was upset with him on the set.
This is hit out to deep left center field. And Brad Hopp winds up at second base. So Hopp with a double with 1 out. Historical profile of the Rockies back in '93, their first season. Couple of wild card berths, been to one league championship and 1 World Series that they played in, eventually lost. They were swept by Boston. You see Helton and Walker, outstanding offensive players. Pitching, Jason Jennings, Brian Fuentes, Pedro Stasio. So the all-time wins leader since '93, 58. That's it for the Rockies.
It will change this season. Cook will pass him.
And this is a season that has started without Jeff Francis.
Yeah, but out for the year.
And a check swing. That's strike 2. Trevor Miller is the 4th pitcher used by the Cardinals today. Ballpark is quiet this afternoon, waiting for the Cardinals offense to come alive and pick up a win. They've been out hit today 9-4. So Ricky was in the booth.
He was in the booth. And
okay.
Rare times he behaved himself.
And he was nice about the Hungo.
Yes.
Helped give it out, helped give it away.
Not really.
He was reluctant. What has happened to that particular piece of plastic that they used to abuse? You see the strikeout there of Ian Stewart.
I think he has it on his mantle.
Right next to that World Series ring. The guy with the Dodgers.
It's next to the trophy. You know, all the individuals get trophies.
Troy Tulowitzki is homered here today. They will walk him and deal with a left-handed hitter on deck. Just steps from the arch in Busch Stadium. Enjoy unmatched hospitality and a prime location at the Hyatt Regency St. Louis Riverfront. Take advantage of Hyatt's exclusive baseball package. Includes overnight accommodations, your choice of 2 or 4 Cardinal tickets, and check out the Hyatt Regency St. Louis Riverfront. Here is Carlos Gonzalez. Showing bunt with 2 outs and 2 runners on. And he took ball 1.
Three-run deficit. Seems like it's 30 runs, doesn't it?
Sure does. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Fly ball into right, and it's pulled foul. One ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and runners at first and second. It feels like that 30-run deficit because the team's not hitting, so you wonder if they'd be able to come back in this game. 1-1 pitch. Fought off. Little bloop and a foul ball.
Trevor's really done a nice job. Welcome addition.
Good guy too.
Yeah, I mean you could tell he's very well liked, very respectful of the game, been around a long time, and doesn't say a whole lot, but when he says something, the younger relievers listen.
One ball and 2 strikes, runners at first and second. 2-2. Russ Springer really had that role for the younger players. The bullpen a year ago. Been off to a little bit of a rough start for the Oakland A's.
You wish him a lot of luck, but get there the age, catches up to you too.
2 strikeouts in the inning. Time to stretch. It's 4-1. Colorado with a 4-1 lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals with just 4 hits this afternoon. They've been out hit 9-4. And here's Yadier Molina. Molina, Green, and Thompson. The Cardinals' last base hit was from Yadi in the 4th. 3 singles and a triple today for St. Louis. 0-1 pitch. Molina hits it down the left field line. That's a base hit. Cut off very nicely by Gonzalez. Yachty digging for 2 and in there safely. Another hard slide into the bag and no give out there at second base.
Nice play by Gonzalez as he cuts this off. Keeps it from going to the wall. Gets it back in quickly, and Yachty hustling all the way. Late slide.
And here is Tyler Green. He'll be pinch hit for Joe Thurston, who will leave the ball club after the game today and head out west to California for the birth of a baby, and then he'll rejoin the team on Thursday. So runner at second base. Cardinals out with just 5 hits, 3 singles, that double by Molina and the triple by Brendan Ryan.
Stavanoa is on deck. He will hit for the pitcher spot. So let's see what the youngsters can do in this situation.
Cardinals with the right-hander getting loose in the pen. Here's a ground ball. Hit to second. Runner advances to third. 1 out. At least you've got to get this run in. Cut the lead to 4-2. Nick Stavanoa will come off the bench. Now they're going to pull back Stavanoa.
And Keel. Randy Flores and Matt Daly are warming up. See if Jim Tracy counters.
One out and a runner at third. And Keel takes a ball outside.
Saw Phillips kind of received that ball and looked to third as the third baseman so far off the line that Yachty can get a huge lead.
It's a pitch that really gets him right there at times. They tie him up with that pitch just below the hands.
It's that cutter or slider coming in there. You see how far the third baseman is off the third base line. So Yachty coming way down. Don't do a Brummer.
Steals home. One and two.
Rick swinging the bat a little bit better, but this is a Marquis with some of his off-speed stuff. Hit sinky fastball located down and away. Could be a tough at bat, but they're working back in.
Swing and a miss, and Keel strikes out. Well, let's go pitch by pitch. Marquis here to Ricky and Keel. And the strikeout is brought to you by Chevrolet.
Started backdoor breaking ball. And got that cutter coming in. Swings over the top. Then out away. Fouls it off. And he gets another cutter coming down on him. Left it out over the middle of the plate. Down, but swinging over the top. And Cardinals now need a 2-out base hit from Brendan Ryan.
Brendan today has struck out and tripled and scored back in the third.
Another example of the difference in this series. Rockies executing with runners in scoring position. Cardinals are not.
It's a big strikeout there. Number 4 on the day for Marquis. Brendan Ryan left center field. This will get down. 2-out base hit for Brendan. And a 2-hit day as Molina scores to cut it to 4-2.
5th RBI for Brendan. Second on this homestand. He hadn't had a lot of opportunities and not cashed in. Kind of a hanging breaker ball. Stays up there. Flips it out in there. And now we're going to have a pitching change. And we're going to see the Reverend Randy Flores.
So Randy coming in. Tying run will be at the plate. That's it for Marquis. Good start for him. It's 4-2. Tying run will come to the plate against Randy Flores. This is our Hardy's prime cut of the game. A couple of base hits for Brendan Ryan as he has a triple and an RBI single. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. This should be interesting. Watching Randy Flores face Skip Schumacher. These two are best of friends and very close. So I'm sure it's kind of fun. Also, maybe not the easiest of things to do to face a former teammate like this.
Sometimes you learn that there's friendship and there's competitors, and you kind of you always worry about or think about facing one of your good friends, and many times the hitter has the best advantage.
2 outs and a runner at first. And why do you say that?
Because he thinks you're not going to throw at him.
Comfortable in the box.
Comfortable in the box. Of course, nobody gets thrown at these days. But
Skip is 0 for 2. Runner goes. And a throw down to second. Brendan Ryan in there safely. Well, he's been aggressive. He's trying to get things going, to his credit. It's his 5th steal.
You kind of got to force the issue a little bit. They know Randy doesn't throw particularly hard. This catcher hasn't been playing that long or been called up from AAA, and he has not thrown out a base runner yet.
I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Dave McKay too, because Dave McKay not only keeps times on opposing pitchers but also on the Cardinal pitchers. So if they're starting to get a little long towards the plate, he'll advise them what they need to do. And he actually keeps a book on those opposing pitchers and his own, just like you see Dave Duncan's. Marty Mason has one out in the bullpen. Defensive charts as well, as he keeps that stopwatch, and he'll time it every time to the plate. When he starts until that ball hits the mitt. Hit back and foul, 2-2. Had both these guys on the Caravan, Randy Flores and Skip Schumacher, and they're great with the fans. Couldn't find two better players to deal with the great fans of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And he's finally healthy. We had a little cleanup surgery last season late. Early in the year, his numbers were way down because he was bothered with some cysts, bone spurs.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Schumacher shoots it the other way. It is slicing and foul. We'll do it again. the season with runners in scoring position, hitting .302. Back to Flo. He's got it. Underhands over to first to Todd Helton, and the Cardinals are through. And we played 7. Randy Flores gets Skip Schumacher, and it's 4-2. Here's Chris Perez. He'll take over for the Redbirds. Last 2 homestands haven't been pretty. The Cardinals had that 9-game homestand, which they went 5-4. This one 2-5 as they split the 4-game set with Cincinnati. Now on the verge of being swept here by Colorado. These are 2 teams that coming into this series, each respective series, had not been playing all that well.
I remember just coming into this series, the Cardinals' ERA was best in the major leagues. No longer.
Al's such a nice guy that he bought not only myself but Rick Hummel a chicken sandwich before the game. Just wanted to add that tidbit. It was very nice of you, Al, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
And I know Rick was very appreciative.
Shocked.
Here is Paul Phillips. 0-1 pitch.
There are some riders I like.
Thurston makes the play. For our young fans, and maybe the ones that aren't so young, how were you? Did you see the numbers with Perez? How were you with the media? And be honest.
Good.
Any blow-ups?
Yeah, I realized they had a job to do, and I had no problems.
Any blow-ups, or you were pretty good with it?
Not in St. Louis. I had one in Atlanta. That was with the TV guy.
Was it Hal McRae-esque, or just... I mean, what was it?
I had my shirt off. I was, early in the day. I was ran about 5 laps and around the stadium, and I wanted to talk to this guy. And he immediately, like a coward, told his cameraman to roll tape. And so I made sure they couldn't use it on the nightly news, using some very colorful language. And it was all bleeped out with about every 15th word and you.
Did you ever talk to him outside of that particular incident?
No.
But you were good with Rick Hummel, obviously, right?
I mean,
you and Rick have a nice relationship.
Great relationship
Enough
with him.
to buy him a sandwich.
I mean, Jack Herman, Neil Russo. Guys that you were warned about, I just, made sure that they didn't say anything that could be misconstrued, but always talk to the media.
1-2 on Seth Smith. Line drive into left and a base hit. (1948) attempting to improve visibility in night games, the Boston Braves. Satin jerseys. They tried the satin jerseys. Well, when you got 6 hits on the day and the verge of being swept by the Rockies, no better way to cheer you up at home, folks, than with a baseball fun fact.
What happened with those satin jerseys?
You were a big fan of the shorts of the Chicago White Sox.
1979. Those were the ugliest things.
Oh, it was brutal looking.
Softball jerseys and shorts. Bill Veck's wife designed that.
And that's taken outside. Dexter Fowler has walked a couple of times. Pittsburgh will be against Atlanta tonight. Saw where John Sherholtz came out and apologized to Tom Glavine with how they finished up the relationship with the lefty, saying that it was a performance decision not to bring him up and not a contract issue in which he would receive. It's an incentive-laden contract, but immediately when he was called up, he'd get $1 million. And for pretty easy benchmarks in the contract, he would get another $1 million, another $2 million, and so on and so forth. And with the way that things went with John Smoltz, it's pretty much the last thing they needed there with Tom Glavine.
Sure. And no one has picked him up yet, have they?
I don't believe so, but I'm not sure if that's because his interest level at this point isn't overly high. Now, he has said he does want to continue to pitch. They'll pitch out. Chance here for Molina, but nobody is covering the bag at second.
Wow. Then he does what you have to do. You throw it to the bag, and you don't have time to look and see who's covering, but boy, that looks bad, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Not hitting, and everything looks flat, and then the failure to communicate who's covering. See Schumacher in that. He's not moving. He has to think that.
Well, that's got to be Brendan Ryan's base, doesn't it, with a left-handed bat?
You would think.
Now, sometimes what they will do, Molina gets an error on that, which he shouldn't. Just slammed his glove. Sometimes with a hard thrower, it'll be the opposite way.
Right.
So you're not sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's just failure to communicate. And
2-2.
Of course, you put Perez in an awkward situation here. He's trying to keep this a 3-run game.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Perez needs a strikeout, and he gets it.
A great slider there. Perez really, he has a very good slider. First time I ever saw him, I just was so impressed with his slider, much more than his fastball. But both of them have been so inconsistent, and part of the problem is not throwing enough strikes with it. Now, he really has cut down on his walks the last few days, and maybe now he's going to bow his neck and show you how tough he can be.
Clint Barmas with the runner at third base. 4-2 Colorado. I mean, again, it's only a 2-run lead, but it feels like the Cardinals are down by 10.
It's been a long time since they've really scored more than 4 runs. That's part of the problem.
No balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. He has got to be frustrated because of certain things that have taken place today. It's one thing to lose, but not covering the bag at second, like you said, Al, it just doesn't look good.
And it's just You know, that's one of those little things that, you know, a team can go through slumps. You know, we always look at offensive slumps, but you know, you can't have those mental mistakes where no one covers. Even got to think, even if you didn't think you were going to be the one at second base, you got to be almost converging there to back up the play.
Sure. There's the slider, misses outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
To a right-hander, you want to keep that ball down and away, but when you have a left-hander batter like you had with Fowler, the switch hitter, you know, you kind of elevate a little bit on the hands.
Line drive into center. Rasmus won't get it. That makes it 5-2.
There's a slider out there, and he up a little bit, reaches out and went out and got it. So goes down and gets it. Good piece of hitting right there. But it's that big looping slider. It's not that real tight one where it looks like a fastball, and at the last second it just that slight little break.
And a pickoff here. Brendan Ryan will tag him out. Sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Rasmus, Pujols, and Ludwig coming up. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. You get Chinese food here at the ballpark. So they're going to give Schumacher the air on that.
It was official score. I mean, it's a way you make a case for a team error or something like that. But you know, I can give it to the second baseman.
I'm sure they're talking about it right now, as Patini is one of those guys that helps set the middle infield. Here is Colby Rasmus.
It's fake. Don't worry about hitting, not worrying about errors.
And Rasmus takes a ball. And Corpus is into the ball game. One-0 pitch to Colby. What would you think would be the explanation as to why they would give it to Skip?
I've got one, but I'd rather keep it to myself.
1-1 pitch. And it's hit out of play. One ball and 2 strikes. Numbers on Corpus this year: 28th appearance, record of 0-3.
Trying to get him straightened out. You see that opponent's batting .346 against him. Lefties 419.
That's drilled into right field, but caught. Another hard hit ball off the bat of Colby Rasmus, and it brings in Pujols. $36,714 here today. Outfield is straight away and deep for Albert. He's grounded out, struck out, and flied out. Flied out to deep left field his first time up. Marquis is in line for the win for the Rockies. If the bullpen can make it stick, he would go to 8-4. 0-1 pitch. Corpus to Pujols. Launched foul. Home run distance, but pulled foul. 0-2. Gentleman caught that baseball barehanded.
Got a little age on him too. Nice play.
Here comes a slider, I believe it is. That's what they got him to swing at when Marquis struck him out. He chased that slider out and away and low.
Well, that's just right now. Albert just feels like he's got to expand his zone. He's got to hit a, a 3-run home run right now, and nobody on base. It's kind of impossible.
Pujols, a ground ball to short. So the Winsky fires over to Todd Helton, and there's 2 outs. Brings in the right fielder Ryan Ludwig.
You would think Albert would have a field day against Colorado pitching, and he's 0 for 4 today and just 1 for 14.
Ludwig now at 236. Twice he has grounded out to third. He's also flied out to left.
Ryan 3 for 23 on the homestand, with a 3-game hitting streak on the line.
Did not take that rehab assignment, and since he's come back, the timing has been just a little bit off. 2 balls and no strikes.
That's 14 days with a hamstring, and he could have gone down for 2 or 3 days. He was healthy enough to do so, try and get that batting eye and stroke down, but elected not to do it. It's been a struggle since coming back on the list.
The 2-0 pitch.
Dan, it just doesn't help when nobody else is hitting, then you put more pressure on yourself. Once again, part of the factors not swinging the bat. They're not drawing any walks either, only 1 today.
2-1 is popped up. Helton is over near the Cardinal dugout and out of play. And that's the other thing that you look at. Lack of hitting, #1, but the lack of walks and your on base percentage. As a team, it's not very good right now since May 1st.
No, and if they do hit a home run, it's a solo shot. Not many extra base hits. Got 2 in this game, and both times that runner came around to score.
2-2 pitch to Ludwig. Here he comes. And he struck him out, so it sends us to the 9th. The Cardinals with just 6 base hits. They trail by 3. It's 5-2. It's 5-2 Colorado. Todd Helton left standing in that 8th inning after the runner, Clint Barmas, was picked off. Numbers for Hawksworth. He has appeared in 1 game. Couple of innings. 1 good inning, 1 not so good.
Made his major league debut on Saturday night. 13th rookie to join the club this year and the 7th to debut. Made 10 starts at Memphis. Originally selected in the 28th round of 2001. He didn't sign until 2002. What they call a draft and follow guy.
What does he possess?
Well, the first man he faced at the big league level was Todd Helton. And he threw a good sinker down and away. Got him to roll over a little ground ball to first base. Got Tulowitzki out on a ground ball and hop on a fly ball deep center. But then the next inning, everything kind of caved in on him. Kept the ball down. They rolled over on it.
Helton pops it up. Play here for Brendan Ryan. The glasses on, 1 away.
Brendan's still alive.
A little talking to, it looked like, possibly for Brendan, after the ball that was thrown by Molina wound up at center field on the steal, which eventually led to a run.
Part of the learning process. A lot more teaching done here at the major league level, and you never stop learning.
$13 in the next 16, starting tomorrow on the road for the Cardinals. So a key stretch coming up. You want to find yourself buried after being on the road and off a long time. Fly ball out to Colby Rasmus, and he's got it for out number 2. Cardinals have Florida and Cleveland upcoming, then an off day next Monday. And then we'll see Detroit for 3, and then back out on the road, Kansas City and the New York Mets. And Minnesota will round out the end of the month of June along with San Francisco. Ian Stewart, the hitter. Hawksworth, a good start to this 9th inning. He's got the first 2.
Stewart had a great weekend, but 0 for 4 as you have the wraparound game.
And a 1-0 pitch. Another pop-up. This time into left. Duncan with glasses on makes the catch. Good work by Hawksworth. 5-2 Colorado.
Player of the game, none other than the starter for Colorado Rockies, Jason Marquis, who's looking to win his 8th ball game. He'd be the first 8-game winner in the National League. And Houston Street, come in here trying to wrap things up and pick up another save. He's 102 saves, are tied for fourth most all time by a player before the age of 26. Spilmore's part of the double switch is out in right field, and so Houston Street will bat fourth as the Cardinals are going to make a big come from behind. Not sure yet if it's going to go extra innings or they'll just tie it up here and go extra innings, or they'll come up with a 4 spot and win it. What do you think, Dan?
Well, this guy at one point, he was lights out. Houston Street.
Well, he's 8 of 9. They just haven't had many save opportunities of late. And the one thing, he is very, very tough against left-handed batters. On the season, they're batting under 200 against him. And lefties are just 2 for his last 23. That's an 087 off Street since April 19th.
Street was an outstanding pitcher in college at Texas. Hard thrower. At one point in his career was with Oakland and now trying to close games out for the Rockies.
He had just 21 minor league games prior to his Oakland debut, and in 05 he was the American League Rookie of the Year. It's part of the Matt Holliday trade. They also got Carlos Gonzalez, their left fielder, and left-handed pitcher Greg Smith in exchange for Holliday.
Quickly 0-2 on Duncan. Yadier Molina is on deck.
We're going to tie it up here in the bottom of the ninth, or just flat out win it?
You just go ahead and win it, Al.
Okay.
6 hits on the day for the Cardinals. Out hit 11-6, trailing 5-2. Need base runners. 0-2 pitch by Street. And Duncan waves at it and strikes out. That's how we start the bottom of the ninth. You can hear the fans' discontent as it's been a rough way to end this homestand for St. Louis.
Mentioned 6 hits, 2 of them by Yachty and 2 of them by Brendan Ryan. Cardinals have had hits in just 3 innings.
See Molina's frustration as he threw the ball into center, no one covering. Second base, slammed his glove to the ground. You don't see that very often from Yachty. Lazy fly ball into right. Cardinals will be down to their final outs.
This Street is 6 foot 191. He doesn't look that big, does he?
No, he doesn't. Came from that great program, Augie Garrido, Texas Longhorns. They are #1, by the way, going into the Super Regionals college game. And Thurston pops it up but foul.
Stafford on deck. Thurston reaches.
Here's the 0-1 pitch by Street to Joe Thurston. Instead, stoppage in play. Cardinals only 6 base hits. They have stranded 5 today. Colorado has left 9 on. 0-1 pitch. Thurston, line drive into right. This should do it. The Rockies come into St. Louis and sweep the Cardinals 4 straight. Last 4-game sweep of the Cardinals was back in 1994 by the Rockies. And they do it here in 2009 at Busch Stadium.